The saloon doors banged open so hard they cracked against the wood walls. Every head turned. Jake Turner stood there, hat crooked, boots caked in dried mud, chest heaving like he had run the whole way from his ranch. His eyes were wild. A glass slipped from a man's hand and shattered on the floor, but nobody even looked down at it. All eyes stayed on Jake. He did not walk to the bar like a normal man. He walked straight into the middle of the room, past the card tables, past the piano player whose fingers froze mid-note. Then he climbed up onto a wooden chair, wobbling for a second before he found his balance. Men stared. A woman near the window laughed behind her hand, sure this was some kind of joke. "I need a wife tomorrow," Jake shouted. The room went silent as a graveyard. Then it broke into noise. Men laughed loudly, slapping their knees. Someone shouted, "Buy him a drink, he's lost his mind." A card player smirked and shook his head, already judging the man as a fool. Nobody moved. Nobody believed him. To them, he was just a desperate rancher making a fool of himself for the whole town to see. But in the back corner, a woman sat very still. Her name was Clara. She had arrived in town only that morning, carrying nothing but a small bag and a heart full of quiet pain. She watched Jake's face closely. She saw something under his wild words. Not madness, fear. The same fear she carried inside her own chest. Clara did not laugh like the others. She did not judge him. Slowly, she stood up. Her chair scraped against the floor and the sound cut through the laughter. Every eye in the saloon turned toward her instead. "I'll marry you," she said. The laughter died. The whole room went quiet again, but this time nobody was laughing at all. The wagon creaked to a stop in front of the small ranch house. Clara's hands gripped the edge of her seat. She had said yes in the saloon without thinking twice, but now, staring at the quiet house ahead, doubt crept into her chest like cold water. The front door opened. A little girl stood there in a wrinkled blue dress, her curls messy and tangled. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She looked at Clara the way a rabbit looks at a wolf, ready to bolt at any second. Clara stepped down slowly from the wagon. She did not rush toward the child. She knelt right there in the dirt, making herself small and harmless. "Hello, Lily," Clara said softly. "My name is Clara." Lily's lip trembled. Without a word, she spun around and ran back inside, disappearing behind a wooden chair. The door stayed open, but the house suddenly felt like a locked box. Jake sighed heavily behind Clara. "She hasn't spoken much," he said, "not since her mama died." Days passed slowly. Lily would not eat unless Clara sat beside her. She woke screaming in the night, calling for a mother who could never answer. Each time, Clara came running, humming soft tunes until the crying stopped. One evening, Jake found Clara sitting alone on the porch steps, watching the sun sink low and orange behind the hills. Her eyes glistened with tears she was trying to hide. "Are you all right?" Jake asked, lowering himself beside her. Clara wiped her face quickly. "I had a daughter once," she whispered. "Sickness took her 2 years ago. My husband couldn't bear the grief. He left not long after." Jake said nothing. He simply placed his rough, calloused hand gently over hers. The silence between them was not empty. It was full of understanding. Two broken people sitting quietly beneath a darkening sky, both carrying wounds the other could somehow see. "I'm sorry," Jake finally said, "but I'm glad you're here." Small boots pounded across the dirt yard. Lily ran fast, too fast, her arms pumping, her curls bouncing wild behind her. Then her foot caught a rock and she went down hard, scraping her knee against the ground. She screamed. Clara spun around from the garden, her heart jumping into her throat. Lily was already scrambling back up, tears streaming, running straight toward her with arms wide open. "Mama, Mama, it hurts." Clara froze completely. Her hands, still holding a fistful of weeds, dropped to her sides. The word hit her like a wave crashing over rocks. Mama. Nobody had called her that in 2 long years. Not since the fever took her own little girl and left her empty inside. For one heartbeat, Clara could not move at all. Old memories flooded back, tiny fingers wrapped around hers, soft laughter in another kitchen, another life. Pain and joy tangled together so tightly she could not tell them apart anymore. Then her body moved before her mind caught up. She dropped to her knees and pulled Lily close, wrapping her arms tight around the shaking child. "I'm here," Clara whispered against her hair. "Mama's here, sweet girl." From across the yard, Jake stopped walking. He had been heading back from the fields, tired and dusty, when the word reached his ears on the wind. "Mama." He stood frozen near the fence post, watching the two of them huddled together in the dirt. This was not duty. This was not an arrangement made in a desperate saloon moment. What he saw now was real. A mother comforting her child, both of them holding on like they might never let go. Something cracked open inside Jake's chest, something he had not expected and could not stop. He had married Clara to keep a promise. He had never once thought about what his own heart might do. But watching her now, seeing the tenderness in her eyes, Jake understood the truth plainly. Somewhere between the porch talks and the soft humming at night, he had fallen in love with his own wife. Hoofbeats sounded on the dirt road, slow and steady. Jake looked up from mending the fence and his stomach dropped. The judge, riding straight toward the ranch, his face unreadable under the brim of his hat. Jake's hands went still on the fence post. This was the moment he had feared for weeks. One wrong word, one bad impression, and Lily could still be taken away. The judge dismounted slowly, boots hitting the dirt. He did not knock on the door. He simply stood by the fence and watched. In the yard, Lily was chasing chickens in wild circles, shrieking with laughter, her curls flying loose. Clara ran right behind her, laughing just as hard, both of them breathless and covered in dust. Nobody had noticed him yet. Then Lily spotted the stranger. She skidded to a stop and ran straight to Clara, wrapping both arms tight around her legs, hiding half her face against the fabric of Clara's skirt. "Mama, who is that man?" The judge's stern expression cracked. Something in his eyes softened completely. He had ridden out here expecting to find a cold, empty arrangement built only on desperation. Instead, he found warm bread smell drifting from the house, clean floors, and a little girl who called a woman mama without any hesitation at all. He tipped his hat toward Jake and Clara. "I see now," he said quietly. "This child is loved. That is all the law needs to know." He smiled down at Lily. "Take good care of your mama and papa, little one." Then he turned, mounted his horse, and rode away without looking back. The fear that had gripped Jake's chest for weeks finally let go. Seasons turned. Lily grew taller, her laughter now the loudest sound on the whole ranch. One evening, Jake and Clara stood together on the porch, watching her chase fireflies across the darkening field. "Do you remember," Clara said softly, "the night you asked for a wife in that saloon?" Jake laughed quietly, pulling her close. "I remember thinking I was a fool. I never once expected to find a family.